Well, I want to talk to you guys about taking back your life. Taking back your life. You know, it's almost like, where do I begin if I feel like I've lost out on some of what God wants to do in my life? Muhammad Ali said this. He said, if a man, and it would work for a woman too, if a man looks at his life at 50 the same way he did when he was 20, he's wasted 30 years. In other words, what he was saying, and what I'm going to say, is when you're 20, you look at life very different than when you're 50. And, you know, 60 is even more different. Like, as we've just hit the 60 mark, we see that, you know, more and more you're seeing what's valuable and what's really not valuable in life. As the old expression goes, nobody's last words on their deathbed were, I should have spent more time at the office. Okay? It's always like, I should have spent more time with my kids, or my husband, or my wife, or I should have, you know, served God better. You know, all kinds of regrets, but one of your regrets is never, oh man, I didn't spend enough time at the office. All right? So, I want to talk about 5 areas to take your life back in. And you know, this morning, God gave me sermons for the whole month. I got 5 sermons this morning. It's kind of cool, because now I don't have to be concerned about, all I got to do is fill in the blanks. Okay? So sometimes that happens. I just get like a download, and I just keep, next page, boom, 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 next page. And so I got all 5 for the month. And they're all kind of along this way of taking back what the enemy has stolen, and how to, well, let me just tell you what they are. One is living the Lord's Prayer, and that's probably going to be a 2-weeker. 5 areas that reveal your heart. 5 things that you determine about your life. And this morning, taking back your life. So, good stuff to come. So let's open our Bibles to the book of Psalm 90. We're going to start there. And the first area I want to talk to you to take back is your time. You know, we have so many ways to budget our time. We have calendars, we have date books, we have phones, we have all of these different things, and most people would say, I still don't have enough time. Now, time is the currency of the earth, or the currency of life. Just like money buys us certain things, time buys us certain things. All right? And so I look at time as currency. I look at time like a checkbook. And the idea is, don't keep your checkbook of time so close that if something important comes up, you can't do it because you don't have time. Because you budgeted in way more than you have time for. Sometimes people tell you they have time, and then they end up not keeping their word, or meeting that maybe you changed around time for, and your time, or his time, or her time, now gets moved around. So you need to deal with your time like a checkbook. Always have a little extra left. So that if you get a call from somebody that needs ministry, if you get a call from somebody that just needs to sit and talk, if you get a call that's from somebody that wants to spend a little time with you, you have a little time to give. Take back your time. We are always falling for the tyranny of the urgent, and we lose the important. Do you understand the difference between the urgent, you know, pipe breaks. Okay, you got to do something, right? The important was, maybe I should have maintained my pipes. Maybe I should have kept an eye on my pipes. Okay? So we have to start to think of more, how does God want me to spend my time? Well, first thing I know God wants is He wants time with you and me. And time with God is what makes the rest of your time blessed. When you spend and put in your time with God, you'll find that other things that you thought were going to be really difficult turn out to go quite easily, because you've given God time, and now God has blessed the rest of your day. I've seen this multiple hundreds of times in my life. When I woke up in the morning with an impossible schedule, and I put in time with God first, and then I find that the rest of the day just kind of goes pretty easy, surprisingly. And it's because God has honored my time with Him. Now, in Psalm 90, I want to look at verse 12. Psalm 90, verse 12. This is a prayer of Moses. And you know, Moses was a pretty busy guy. He was leading a couple of million Israelites out of Egypt into the promised land. And this is what he said: "So teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." Teach us to number our days. Now, a day is what? It's 24 hours. It's time. Teach us to keep track of our time so that we would have wisdom as how to prioritize our life. That's really what that verse is saying. That you shouldn't wake up in the morning and have no clue what's going on that day. You should have some kind of plan of what God would have you to accomplish. And that goes besides the fact that you might have to go to work for 8 hours. That's a given for all of us, pretty much. So what time are we talking about? We're talking about our spare time, if there's a such thing in this world. We're talking about the time when we don't have to be at work or be at a certain place. God, teach us what to do with that time that would be pleasing to you and fruitful here on earth. Okay, so you would never think that time was so important. But, you know, go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Man, these pages are stuck together. I go turn one page on another book. I love this. Verse 1. To everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under heaven. Everything God wants done has a purpose and a time to do it. But if we're booked on things that are not as important, we will miss the important. If we have no time left in our time checkbook, we start bouncing things that are vital for our life, especially our spiritual life. And if you have an eternal concept, you realize only what is done for eternity is going to last. Everything else. I've been to 4 funerals in the last almost 2 weeks. 4. This is the second time in 6 months that I've gone to 4 funerals within a week. 4 funerals. Of the 4, 3 were unexpected. Nobody dies at the right time. That's why death is so horrible. Most of the time you don't get a chance to say goodbye, you don't get a chance to get your affairs in order. All of that stuff is eliminated by your time. So, teach us to number our days, God, so that we can take back our life. A better date book is not going to do it. Understanding what God wants to do in your day will do it.